The campaign for socialism has been around much longer than Momentum, but can it now emulate their success north of the border?
Well, earlier I spoke to the chair of Campaign for Socialism, Martyn. Let's start with Labour as a movement. One of the things that's happened down south is Labour claim to be the biggest mass membership party in Western Europe now, but there's not really been a similar upsurge in membership in the party here, has there?
Well, I think there has been an increase in membership. It's not been as high as it has been across England and Wales, but we certainly have seen new people come into the party and get involved, largely off the back of...
But presumably you would like to ramp that up.
Oh yeah, I think there's much more we can be doing to get more people involved and be a genuine movement as opposed to just a political party.
And what needs to happen up here for that to happen? Because the Corbyn effect in England, I mean, arguably, I'm interested whether you agree. Many people are saying that Labour's unexpectedly good result in the general election in Scotland was actually largely to do with the Corbyn effect.
I think that probably is correct. But we did see gains. I mean, there was a difference. England and Wales, there was a huge surge, of about 10% increase down there. There was only maybe 2 or 3% up here. I think we should have been far more focused on Corbyn and, more importantly, the manifesto that he represents. And we probably would actually seen more gains up here if we'd done that.
Right. So, what about the Labour leadership up here? Are you fans of them? I mean, they've been pretty hostile to Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any secret that, you know, Kezia Dugdale voted for Owen Smith and supported him in the last leadership election. I don't necessarily think it's about the leadership up here per se. It's about listening to the membership and the policies that we want to have. Really encouraged the other day there, though. I think there has been lessons learned. There was an email from Kezia Dugdale to the full membership, basically saying that we want to campaign on the For the Many manifesto, that we want to be anti-austerity, and we're on a campaign footing right now, and one of our key policy launches is industrial strategy. So we'll be creating good jobs across the economy, and that's what it'll be about, how we'll get people engaged again. But
what Labour up here haven't done, there's no Jezza effect in the way there has been in England, has there? I mean, you know, the guy turning up at, I mean, Kezia Dugdale, I'm sure she's very nice and very wonderful, but isn't turning up at, you know, Transmit, the rock festival that's on this weekend, and addressing everyone and having tens of thousands of people cheering her. That's the difference.
No, but I think Corbyn has captured something and represents something that's not about him. So while they're chanting his name,
but do you think Labour up here should be trying to make more use of that?
Oh yeah, completely. And I think that the party is beginning to understand that we have to tap into this feeling that we need something better, a real alternative and a different vision for how this country should be run and organised.
Right, so did you take the email you're talking about as an acceptance by Kezia Dugdale and the leadership here that they have to change?
I mean, I can't speak for the leadership of the party here, but I think it's certainly an indication that the party wants to get behind the manifesto, the policies and the vision, and start to build on that, because that is what the gains in the general election were based on, and I don't think there's many people that would dispute that.
The upsurge of interest in politics amongst young people that we saw with Jeremy Corbyn in Scotland tended to happen for the SNP, didn't it? It was the Yes campaign that mobilised thousands of people. The SNP put on 100,000 new members. Do you think Labour, well, clearly Labour did lose out, but is there anything from your point of view you can do to win over some of those people?
Yeah, well, I think, if my memory is correct, about a quarter of people who voted yes in the referendum voted Labour this time. And I think the reason that so many people voted yes and went to the SNP last time round was because it was a route for them for a better society. They put across a positive campaign about a vision for a different country and how it would be fairer for all. Now, I think what they were offering was a dead end and wouldn't actually have provided the change. And I think the Labour Party and what it's putting across is actually about genuine change, giving workers more control, about a fairer society. And if we push that, we'll begin to win people over.
Why do you think it was the SNP that were able to communicate to young people and not the Labour Party?
At that time, I think the Better Together campaign was much about telling people what they couldn't have, about things that too afraid to say would be different. I think this time round, Labour is now speaking about big ideas, about changing things, and about creating for the many, not the few. I think that's a really clear, simple message about what Labour stands for, whereas we didn't have that before. a lot of people maybe didn't know what Labour stood for. They do
what
now.
are you trying to say to younger people about independence? Are you effectively saying, you know, we think it's a dead end, the phrase you've used, but are you also saying basically it's just not very interesting? Look, we've got different things to talk about.
I think that is correct. I mean, there's people in the Labour Party who supported yes, the majority supported no. I think we can welcome all opinions on this issue. But I think that if we want to see real change, we need to do it. We need to talk about the financial system, the economy, taxation, things that, whether we like it or not, are organised at a UK level. And with Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party, we've got a real way of changing that and challenging power.
Give me one thing, one way you would like the Scottish Labour leadership to change to attempt to get the kind of momentum that Labour in England now seem to have.
I don't think there's one thing. I think what we've already talked about so far, that they're getting behind the policy programme that's been put forward and bringing that more to the fore, rather than talking about being anti-independence or anti-SNP. Putting across a positive vision is a really good move, and I would encourage more of that.